America just last month. This man, Alton Nolan, beheaded one of his co-workers after trying to convert her to Islam and others to Islam. And abroad, convert or die. That movement, now fueled by the group ISIS, that terror network, is still very much on the march, which is why tonight we have put together a very distinguished panel to help us answer the important question: is Islam truly a religion of peace? All right, this is where we get into, and I'm going to start with you, Dr. Jasser, into very controversial territory. This, because we're raising a very important question. I look at Boko Haram, I look at ISIS, I look at Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, Islamic Jihad, Hamas, Hezbollah. They all are terrorist organizations that base their belief system on radical Islam, or one might argue the strict interpretation of the Quran. Now, if you read the Quran, I see take neither Christians or Jews for your friends, lots of talk about infidels, lots of talk about jihad, holy war, etc. If you read it literally, is it a religion of peace?
Well, you know, families like mine that came here and felt we could practice our faith more freely in America than in Syria or any other Islamic majority country feel that we have an interpretation of Islam that is consistent with modernity and with liberty. But we would be fooling ourselves. I mean, we need an intervention as a faith to realize that these byproducts are not coming out of thin air. There is a fascist, supremacist interpretation that dominates so much of the media, from Al Jazeera,
and it's growing.
Saudi Arabia.
And
exactly.
It's growing.
Now, the interpretations you gave, though, Sean, are English interpretations of Arabic script. Every faith, I mean, even the Catholic Church had 300 years before lay Christians could read their own script in Latin. Islam has the same type of reformation that needs to go through, where we can interpret our script, our passages. That word for friends actually is awliya. It doesn't mean friends. It means legal sponsors.
But let me ask you this, because as Westerners, as Americans, we look at life for women under Sharia. I don't care if we're talking about Saudi Arabia. I don't care if we're talking about Iran. What do we know in Saudi Arabia? Women can't drive. Women can't be seen in public without men that they're related to. I'll throw this to Bob Beckel. You see, in Iran, gays are stoned to death. Mm-hmm. Women are stoned to death for adultery. 4 male eyewitnesses needed for adultery. Women must cover themselves under Sharia. Yeah.
Well, first of all, let's take a look at the answer to all those is yes, but let's take a look at ISIS for a second. They're the most clear and present danger. The ISIS religious interpretation goes back to the 1720s, when the most radical of Islamists.
Didn't they go back earlier than that?
No. When they took over, when they went to war against the Saudi family, and they ousted the Saudi family.
Wahhabis.
Yeah, the Wahhabis.
That was mid-18. Yeah.
And the Wahhabis have been and always will be terrorists. If you associate yourself with that brand of Islam, and I think the doctor's exactly right, it's a branding issue here. If people were to take Christianity and assume and pick out in Revelations, as many people do, who attack Christianity and say, look what it says in Revelations, you could say that it's a terrorist.
But we don't have a problem with Christians persecuting women and gays, such rigid radical interpretation of the Bible that they justify killing innocent men, women, and children.
Because historically we cleaned that up.
No, whoa. We did, Sean. They called the Crusades.
No.
We did that.
We're talking about today. I'm talking about modern day today.
I'm saying it happened in the Catholic Church, and it's certainly happening in the Muslim world now. But you just can't pass over 40 years history and suggest it didn't happen.
I'm suggesting with the modern day threat and what life under all of these groups are under one heading, and that is radical Islamists. They all believe in using their faith to justify their actions to be at war with the infidels or non-believers. That's the difference. And they're willing to kill for it, and their system of justice is oppressive.
All I'm telling you is that in history, we've got other religions doing the same thing. As far as the current thing is going, we can define it any way you want. The problem we have is that how we're doing it on my side of the street is simply bombing. For 25 years in Iraq, hasn't worked. 4 separate presidents. We have not come no understanding about Shia and Sunni and what's eating at part of this.
Should we care that women have no rights under Sharia?
Of course we should. Of course we should. In every country, starting with our own.
But you can't say women have no rights under Sharia.
Well, limited rights. Fair enough.
Okay, limited. But the point I'm saying is, if we don't, Sean, the biggest problem, if we want to solve it, we have to march through it systematically. We can't start way down the line and start picking up effects and not even understand causes. We have to see the cause and understand the causes and effects.
You can't not fight it now while you're studying.
Let him finish his thought. Go ahead.
I don't mind that, but I'm saying, but if all we're going to look at are effects.
No, of course not.
There are causes.
The cause is what? The mixture of state and religion.
Well, maybe that is a
The
cause.
Islamic State, all Islamic states are a
But I'm not going to allow you to use that term with me. I'm saying you can say you cannot put an Islamic State with a bunch of crazy people. Islam was
There's no version of the Islamic State that I would ever support, especially as an American, but let alone as a Muslim who believes in liberty.
It's a state of radical, crazy, desperate people.
It's theocracy, so you're endorsing theocracy.
I'm not endorsing it. I'm simply saying let's define it.
Imam, can I ask you
there were 20 beheadings in Saudi Arabia.
I mentioned all these groups. They're all under a different heading. Boko Haram, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, Islamic Jihad, Hamas, Hezbollah. Are they all, in your view, radical Islamic terrorist groups?
No,
they're not.
No,
they're not.
No, because Sean, you have
can't.
to.
If you can't acknowledge a simple truth like that, I don't think this conversation can get very far.
Sean, you don't start off in quantum mathematics and ask the third.
All right, let me start one. I'll check them out. Is Boko Haram a terrorist group?
I would agree with that.
Is ISIS a terrorist group?
I would agree.
Is Al-Qaeda a terrorist group?
I would agree.
Is the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist group?
I would not agree with that.
Okay, Mohammed Morsi referred to the Israelis as descendants of apes and pigs.
He wants a broad brush.
Is Hamas a terrorist group?
I would not agree with that.
Is Hezbollah a terrorist group?
I would not agree with that.
Is the Islamic Jihad a terrorist group?
Islamic Jihad, I don't know much about.
Is Sharia often used to oppress women and minorities?
Sharia is used in time and conditions
in the practical
in a
world.
Particular place. Sharia has to stay where it was created, and it has to be revived. If we go back and let me just say this one point. If we go back and take a look at some of the laws we had, don't feed your horse downtown New York City while in the middle of the day. If we take some of that kind of thinking, that's the same thing you're dealing with Sharia law.
We got to
Things have to be modernized.
Bob, real quick.
Okay, real quick is we've all got to be very careful here about trying to change other religions or what they believe in. But the fact is, Imam, that that religion, your religion, a part of it, has declared war on us, and we have a responsibility as a free nation to eradicate that threat. We don't want to. Obama's right. We're not at war against Islam. We're not at war against you. We're at war with those who use your religion to radicalize their position to kill people.
But is it the religion? But Bob, are we talking about the religion? Or are we talking about some crazy people who come and put their
So you don't admit we need reform?
Let me finish, Dr. Jackson.
You don't admit we need reform?
I'm not going to disagree with that. But I'm saying
you are.
I'm not going to, but let me finish this point. Just because some radical people come and put 1 foot in the door. Now keep in mind, 1 foot in the door, keeping all of their insanity that they had before they came to Islam, and